Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2008 Chrysler Town & Country Touring. Up front is a 3.8 liter V6, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Chrysler Town & Country for two reasons. First of all, I like driving minivans. That's just a fact, and there it is. But the second reason is the fact that I have a lot of nostalgia for this era, 2008 specifically, Chrysler specifically, and we'll be walking our way through that and how some of that might actually be false in the end. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Lastly, huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Chrysler Town & Country for today's video. You could browse their inventory found in the description below. But let's get back to that 3.8 liter V6. Well, that actually was born from the late 80s, early 90s with the 3.3 liter V6. But when it grew to the 3.8 liter, it was found in vehicles like the Jeep Wrangler, this, of course, the Chrysler Town & Country / Dodge Grand Caravan, and even the Volkswagen Routan, because it was based off this platform. It makes about 197 horsepower, which isn't anything crazy, especially compared to modern day tech, but it's enough to scoot the van along at a decent pace. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic. It's fine. Again, it does the job. There's nothing spectacular about it. There's nothing showboaty about it, but that's kind of a good thing. Now, Chrysler transmissions aren't wonderful, especially in this era. Town & Countries, they're kind of known to not have great transmissions, but it's still operating here at 71,000 miles, so I'll take it. Last but not least, the Town & Country is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the Town & Country? Well, it drives like a minivan, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. You sit up high, you can see up and over a lot of things. It's not quite at the SUV level, but it's a nice viewpoint. The ride is nice and smooth. You are going to notice that between the Caravan and the Town & Country. The Town & Country rides a lot nicer than the Caravan. Chrysler gave a little bit more thought and feeling into the suspension than just the basic Caravan. Throttle response is fine. Transmission sometimes lags here and there. It'll kick you in the tush every once in a while, but nothing over the top. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and speedometer, and off to the right is my tachometer and coolant temperature. We also do get some pages icons and compass on the steering wheel, as well as a little stalk for the cruise control to the bottom right. We get skip track and volume around the back of the steering wheel, pretty typical of Chrysler in the era. And off to the left, we have a climate control vent, headlight switch, gauge dimmer switch, and dome light. Moving out of the door, we have power mirrors, power locks, and power windows, as well as we have a switch to vent out the very rear wing windows for the 3rd row. Very nice to see that. Moving into the center, we do get our radio. This is a touchscreen radio for 2008. Very, very nice, and it does have Sirius XM. And off to the left, we have the shifter. Pretty typical for a minivan to have it on the dash. And moving back into the center, we have 2 climate vents and an analog clock. This really helps set the interior apart from the Dodge Grand Caravan, and it's certainly a nice feature to have. And we have the climate control down below, so we do get dual zone climate, where to send it all around, and fan speed in the center, as well as we have rear climate, temperature, and fan speed down below, accompanied by our heated seat buttons. We then get our CD/DVD player. We will talk about the DVD player here in a second, but very nice to see all of that. And then we have pull-out cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and because it's a minivan, and most do, the Chrysler Town & Country from 08 passes the big friggin' bottle test. Then we have some 12-volt outlets and cubby space down below, and then we'll move up to the center console. More cup holders here that unfortunately fail the big friggin' bottle test, but we have some cubby space you can open up, and even more cup holders. Now, up over my right shoulder on the center console, we do have these airplane-looking lights, as well as we have buttons for our power doors and power lift gate. Moving back down to earth for the seats. The seats are comfortable, they are heated and power, which is very nice to see, and they are pretty highly adjustable, so it will be able to accommodate most body types, shapes, and sizes. However, because this is a minivan, we do have 2 more rows of seating. So let's go do some backseat reviews in the Chrysler Town & Country. Getting in the back of the Chrysler Town & Country, and a couple of things to note. First of all, we do have tons of storage up here. These are all storage bins, except this is a second screen. So we get a second screen back here, storage, light, fan speed, temperature, where to send it, first screen. So we actually have two screens here in the Town & Country. That is really, really nice to see. The seats are decently comfortable. However, they are a little bit small, just not very big, which is okay, but it's just something to point out. But in the floor, this is what everyone talks about. This is the patented Stow & Go system from Chrysler. This allows you to store stuff in the floor. And I recently had a comment on a Honda Odyssey video saying that they will only buy a Chrysler Town & Country / Pacifica because of the Stow & Go system. So people love it, and Chrysler patented it, which is really cool to see. I have decent leg room, knee room, a lot of plastic back here, well, that's just it. Just a lot of plastic. Let's hop into the third row and check it out from back there. All right, in the third row, this is actually where I would probably most likely want to be. First of all, I get my own screen, much like the second row. I get my own screen. I get lights. I have vents. And I actually have a little bit more leg room. I have cup holders, and the just overall cushion, like the actual foam material in these seats, feels a lot nicer, feels a lot cushionier than the second row. So I think for one of the first times ever, I would much rather sit back here, although I am noticing the second row does have heated seats. So on a warm day, back here. On a cold day, I'd probably prefer those. Let's hop out into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the 08 Chrysler Town & Country. Big chunky handle there, and we have our rear seat space. So something really cool over here, you actually have a built-in flashlight that comes out of the wall. It recharges that way. However, unfortunately, it appears as though this unit either doesn't charge or doesn't work anymore. But very cool that you got that in the wall of your Town & Country. We also have some storage over there for like the jack and things like that. We have our power tailgate button, commonly or still found on the Pacifica in that same spot 17 years later. Now, we also do have a somewhat Stow & Go method here. We got to take these floor mats out. All right, so one, and then you pull two. There we go. All right, let's try it again. One, folds it flat. Two, should unlock it. And then three, pull it over. There we go, folds into the floor. And now you have a flat loading floor for the back. You have some anchor points that were for the seats, but you can now anchor cargo in there. And this is absolutely wonderful. So really, really nice feature here. And this wasn't the status quo for minivans back in the day. They didn't have this flat loading floor capability. The Chrysler Town & Country was a forefront vehicle for many different technologies, but this was certainly one of them. So we can get them back up. Kind of chuck it like that, and then pull this strap. There you go. They are back up. It's a little cumbersome, but very, very cool nevertheless. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I like the color. This is very late 2000s Chrysler's color palette. Reminds me of like the Chrysler Aspen at the time, and the Crossfire, and the later years of the Pacifica, 2008 being the final year of the Pacifica. I like it. I don't think that the Town & Country is like this crazy, beautiful minivan. I don't think any minivan really knocks my socks off. If you want an attractive minivan, there's the ID Buzz, but then you have to deal with the million downsides of having a $71,000 electric minivan. So I'm happy with this here today. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 2008 Chrysler Town & Country? Well, to be brutally honest, there's a lot of plastic in here, not great build quality, nothing's really spectacular, but that's okay. Why is that okay, you might ask? Well, this van came out in 2008. Obviously, it's a 2008 vehicle. And if you know anything about history, 2008 was the big financial crisis, not only here in the United States, but across the world. It was a dark time. Automakers had a really hard time selling vehicles. Consumers weren't buying them. And not only that, the housing market crashed. People were losing their jobs, losing their homes. It was a brutal disaster of a year. 2008 and 2009 were not good. They were dark times. But for me personally, I was in 4th grade. So to me, I romanticize 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. Those were some of the most joyful, most innocent, most fantastic years of my life. I look back on 2008 music and culture and clothing, and it brings just such a warmth. This van, getting inside, it smells like walking around a downtown area in the summertime after swimming at the pool, and your shorts are a little damp still. But the girl you like really wanted to walk around downtown, so you agree to it, even though you're missing a flip-flop. You got $3, and 2 of that has to be used to get home. So what are you gonna do with $1? On paper, that doesn't sound like a good experience, but in practice, it's the best experience you'll ever have. It's an innocent and pure one. It's just fun. You had no bills. You had no taxes. You had no requirement other than to survive, which was relatively easy to do as a kid. That's how I feel about this van. The build quality isn't spectacular, and nothing out here or in here is anything special. But this era just brings me so much warmth and comfort. This van reminds me of innocence. This van reminds me of my childhood, when things weren't so hectic, when I didn't have to hunt and scavenge what I'm going to eat every day, figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm gonna make money, how I'm gonna repay my student loans. The rent is due. It's tax season. None of that matters here in the Chrysler Town and Country. This van whisks you away to a better era, the era of which I grew up, the era of which all my friends lived in a 3-block radius, an era of which we weren't bound to our cell phones, an era of which calories didn't add up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Chrysler Town and Country for today's video. They are absolutely wonderful. They always have fantastic inventory as well. They deliver to 48 states. They offer financing, and they now offer mobile detailing, so they really are a one-stop shop for Northern Illinois and the Chicagoland area. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.